IVM.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys.
Sadav, recently we've been traveling a lot. Sometimes we go to Mysore, sometimes we go to Uttarakhand. Are we a food podcast or are we a travel podcast now? आज कहाँ घूमेंगे फिर?
सिर्फ घूमे की बात करो बस उसको. आप पढ़ाई लिखाई कर लो, IAS वाईएस बन जाओ, थोड़ा सा दिन रात खाली घूमी करना है. इसीलिए दिस इज एग्जैक्टली रीजन व्हाई आई नेवर टेक यू एनीवेयर. कहीं घुमाने लायक इंसान नहीं हो तुम, चुपचाप से बैठ जाओ. गजब बचती है. आज हमारे पास ऐसे से पढ़ाई लिखाई के लिए तो वी हैव गॉट आवर गेस्ट, और हम गेस्ट से बिल्कुल बातें करेंगे, गुफ्तगू गप्पे मारेंगे. फूड है, नॉस्टैल्जिया है, स्टोरीज है, और देखते हैं और क्या क्या होएगा. बट है बहुत कुछ है, घूमे नहीं करेंगे आज. बट मे बी अरे स्टोरी है तो घूमी तो अपने आप हो जाएगा. तो दिल थाम के बैठ जाइए, पैंट वैंट कस लीजिए, बिकॉज वी हैव सुधा मेनन. हाय सुधा.
Hi, lovely to be here, and I love your banter and all of that.
अभी तो शुरुआत हुई है. So Sudha, as I'm sure most of you already know about, Sudha is an author, columnist, a writing coach. She's written multiple books, author of 5 non-fiction books: Feisty at 50, Legacy Letters to the Daughter, from Eminent Indian Men and Women, Gifted Inspirational Stories of People with Disabilities, and Devi Diva or She Diva. I like this name basically. It's just absolutely amazing. And her latest book, which is Recipes for Life. So if you're watching us on YouTube, this is the book. If you're not watching us on YouTube, then go and buy the book. As simple as that.
The link is in the show notes.
Yeah. So अभी क्लिक कर लो, बाद में शायद मौका ना मिले. नहीं मिल तो जाएगा ही, पता नहीं. Who knows? शायद छत पर साल पे गिर जाए तो क्या मतलब. है. तो इस बुक में ना, द इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट इज, मेनी इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट्स बाय द वे. एक तो इसके अंदर I think this covers different style, different kinds of people. So if you're a food person, of course you should totally buy this. If you're a story person, totally buy this. But also if you like cricket, there are cricketers. If you like food, if there are chefs. If you like actors, there are actors. If you like artists, there are artists. मतलब कुछ छोड़ा नहीं है, तो बिल्कुल सर्वगुण संपन्न, मोस्ट एलिजिबल बुक है ये.
So the book documents recipes of comfort foods of famous personalities like Ajit Agarkar, Harsha Bogle, Chef Atul Kochhar, and Shashi Tharoor, amongst many others.
लैंग्वेज शशि थरूर चैप्टर की थोड़ी इजी सी है, ऐसे डिफिकल्ट से कुछ नहीं है, तो टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है.
Don't get intimidated by Shashi Tharoor's name.
हाँ, exactly.
The recipe there is like the simplest, because it's about comfort food. All the recipes, I made sure there is no fancy food there. It is just food that we eat at home, not कि dial in किया या कोई fancy restaurant में जाके खाए.
हाँ.
Lovely. So before we talk about this particular book, because obviously we're a food podcast, तो हमें खाने की बुक के बारे में ही बात करेंगे सबसे ज्यादा.
अच्छा, अभी तो सवाल जवाब कर रहे थे कि हम फूड के हैं कि ट्रैवल के हैं. खुद ही कंफ्यूज करते हैं.
फूड मेन है, फिर आसपास हम थोड़ा भटक जाते हैं ट्रैवल में, हिस्ट्री में,
वंडरलस्ट हैं हम लोग.
So let's talk about your life first, Sudha. What influenced you to write about such a diverse range of topics, from disabilities to successful women to food? And these influences could be from your childhood, from your adult life as well. What are these influences? And is there a common thread that binds all your writing?
I think yes. It is my very, very deep curiosity about things and curiosity about the lives of people. When I was a kid, I was a very shy, very, very reclusive girl, and totally friendless because I was completely tongue-tied. If you hear me now, you won't think so, but I was like, एक घंटे में एक couple of words, because I was naturally shy, and 2, because I was totally like a mouse. Like I was totally reclusive. I couldn't come out of my shell at all. And so it's like that, isn't it? That if you don't talk, samne wala bhi baat nahi karega. So I ended up, in the four sibling household that I had, I was only one sitting on the sofa doing nothing, while the rest of them were all like social people out and talking and having friends and having fun. So what I did to kind of get over my complete aloneness was read books. My father loved books, and so our house was full of books. Like we came from a very modest household, and he worked for the railways, and he was a very generous-hearted man. So all the money in the house, his salary, half of the salary went to various people who he said needed the money more. And so we didn't have any other material comforts, but every month lots of books came into the house. And so I would read Russian literature, American literature, all the classics. When I was still 10 and 12, I was reading all this. Abhi pata nahi kuch samajh mein bhi aaya tha ki nahi tabhi, but I used to read all of that. And so there was this deep curiosity that built up in my mind about different cultures, different people, different places. And that curiosity, I think, carried forward into my future life. Like at 16 or 18 or whatever, I decided that I wanted to become a journalist. I'm not sure whether it was just my instinct or my survival instinct telling me that if you want to get out of this rut that you are, friendless zone, then you have to go into an area where you will have to shed all your shyness and your inhibitions. So journalism was like, I took to journalism like it was like, a dying man's last straw kind of thing. And I discovered myself there. I found a voice, I found opinion, and I discovered that I loved talking, actually. I loved meeting people. I loved talking. I love hearing other people's stories. And that is what actually fueled when I decided to become an author. Because during my journalism days, every day, 5-6 meetings, you're meeting people, you're hearing, like you meet different guys. One day it will be a drain cleaner, a guy who goes down, cleaning the manholes. Another day it would be a woman activist. Another day you're covering the Bombay riots after Babri Masjid. So various human conditions, you're talking to them. And this is life, you can get pulled into it so fast. So you start empathizing with people and you want to know more and more about people. And all of that experience, I think 24 years of journalism, and one day I said, now enough. Now I want to put this experience to use in a book. And that was the first book I wrote, was Leading Ladies, Women Who Inspire India. Came from all the power women I had met. Power women as not just corner office wale corporate women, but P.T. Usha and Ela Bhatt, women who really made a difference to other people's lives, to other women's lives. So most of what I do is because of my deep interest in people's lives, in what makes them what they are.
Wow. What has been like, because you have heard so many stories, and I was traveling yesterday, or traveling matlab, from my house to a cafe nearby in a cab, and the cab guy was telling a story. I myself, it is very hard for people to understand, but I am an introvert. People don't think I am an introvert. I am big time introvert. It's because of internet which helps.
Absolutely.
So when I was in the car, right, the cab guy was narrating really nice story about himself and how basically he was a married guy. He got duped into some sort of relationship from this one girl. So lambi kahani. 45 minutes of journey was just like that. He was narrating a story. So I'm very curious. Have you ever come across any one of your or absolute favorite fascinating story of yours in the recent time, which kind of sort of bowled you over, like, oh wow, this is really interesting, inspiring story?
From my book?
From anyone, from the book, from people in general.
So I think while I was writing this book, I heard so many, like 30 different people in the book. So 30 different stories, and of complete people of great privilege to people who have nothing, so the stories. But for me, I think the standout, like there are 3 or 4 standout stories, but I think the thing that really touched my heart was Irfan Pathan's story.
Wow.
If you know him now, he's this super successful cricketer and he has so much wealth and he has so much influence. But to know where he came from and how he came up from that was just, it just touches your heart. And after that conversation, I felt like I was a different person. And Irfan's interview actually happened on telephone, because by the time I was interviewing him, we were all in a national lockdown. And so there's no question of traveling. So I got on the phone with him and I asked, when in retrospect, I think what was a very, very insensitive question. So because it was a food book and it was about comfort foods and nostalgia and your most favorite thing to eat, I said, Irfan, I just want to know from you, what are the most memorable meals you have eaten? You know, what are the things that your mother cooked, the really thing that you really crave for? What are those few dishes that she made? And there's a pause. And Irfan is a gentleman. Like, he's a very soft-spoken, very bahut tehzeeb, and, you feel like you're talking to some gentleman. And that is really something, because we are all so casual and we are also sometimes, I think, bordering on rude with each other. But to talk to him is to talk to a person who's like old world, very gentleman kind, very lot of elegant conversation. So there's a pause in the conversation, and then he said, Sudha, the most luxurious thing, the most memorable meals I've had, the most memorable thing that happened to our life in food was if we got to eat 2 meals a day. He said we were so poor that to have 2 meals was a luxury. So that would be a luxurious thing. That would be something that remained in my mind. He said my father worked 12 to 14 hours a day, and we could still have only 1 meal in the day. And he said, so for me, if somebody asked me memorable kya tha, so he said it was, my food memories would always be headlined by sardiyon mein ya through the year. We would wake up in the morning and we would be getting, he and his siblings would be getting ready to go to school. His father would be getting ready to go to work. That all of us gathered in the kitchen. We sat down in our tiny little kitchen, and Ammi would make hot rotis smeared with a little oil, and we would dip it in very sugary tea. And that was, even today, he says, my happiest memories of food is that, because we could afford nothing else. Just वो roti dip किया चाय में और खाए. He said today we still eat the same thing, because he says that I remember her, and today the rotis are smeared with ghee because we can afford it. But then it was just oil, and वो dip किया खा लिया, school गए. Next meal was at night, and he said we were so cash strapped at that time that he said most dinners would be moong dal ki khichdi and batate ki sabji, because batata was cheap. Potatoes were cheap. Ammi could afford it. And he said that some days she could find kothmir in the market, which she could afford to buy. And then we would have that dhaniya ki chutney with the khichdi, and next morning with the roti. And, to hear this story is a very humbling experience, because we naturally presume that people who are up there and doing well and everybody celebrates them, we presume that they all have had lives of privilege. But it's not so. Most of us have come from very, very modest beginnings. And, Irfan's story, for so many reasons, like he said that she knew always, his Ammi always knew that her 2 boys wanted to be cricketers. She was fiercely ambitious for them. She wanted to enable that dream. And she also knew that she didn't have the money to make, for the expensive protein drinks. Aajkal wohi hota hai na, ki sab expensive protein drink, expensive supplements. He said, my mother had nothing. He says that despite all of that, she made sure that he and his brother had a glass of milk every day. He says the packaged milk we couldn't afford. So we would go to the neighborhood dairy where you can buy loose milk, and वो जरूर पिलाती थी, and कभी कभार दही खिलाती थी. And every day she would walk with her tiffin full of moong dal ki khichdi with lots of greens, and so that her boys got enough protein. And walking in the blazing sun to feed her kids, and he says that Ammi is so generous कि तभी भी जरा ज़्यादा pack करती थी, so that other boys who were in the ground playing with them, they also got to eat a little bit. And he says, so this is where the story, then the book becomes not just recipes, it becomes really recipe for life, because he says I learned from my mother about unconditional love, about generosity, about enabling her children's dreams, making do with what you have, but still not giving up on life. So, and so many of the stories in this book are like that. That कि माँ को देख के सीखा. Just observing her, we learned all these things. So Irfan's story is really, he had this amazing anecdote of how when they then became, quite well off, super successful two boys in the team. And it was a 2007, I think, Indo-Australian series or some, I'm forgetting which match it was. But they went.
Chit batao.
Yeah, 2007, India toured Australia.
Chit is a cricket fan, so he knows all that stuff.
There was something in Baroda. There was a match that was played in Baroda. So I'm not sure it was Australia. I'm like, here I get to use my age and say I don't remember. But but there was a match. The entire cricket team was in Baroda, and everybody had heard about Irfan's Ammi's biryani, and so everybody said, "Ne, Ammi ke haath ka biryani khana." And she cooked biryani. Irfan's Ammi cooked biryani for the entire team. And he says that Sachin Tendulkar was totally like, he was blown away by the biryani. He was so much in love with it. He says ki next morning again he asked for the biryani. And then the mum, Ammi, went into panic because nahi bacha tha, because the entire team had eaten. And also Sachin Tendulkar asking for stale biryani. But he said, no, but stale biryani tastes better than fresh biryani. So wo hi khila do. To thi nahi, so she made biryani again for him. And he says that it was such a sense of pride that my mother, from where she came from where all of us came from to come to this position. But he says that I never forget my roots. And I always make sure that anybody in that position that I was in, I always have a helping hand for them. So it's like that, recipe for life.
That's a beautiful, beautiful story. Amazing.
Yeah. And after I heard that, I have always admired Irfan, and that's why he was in the book, because I have found his narrative very interesting. And then after this conversation with him, I think I've become more of a fan than ever now. That you can use your position and your influence for other people also, and I know that he does, not from him, but from reading in the newspapers about the stuff that he does for underprivileged people.
I'm just letting that soak in for a bit before I get to the next thing. But that was, as Archit, I think that was really moving and beautiful story. I mean,
thank you.
I don't think any other word apart from beautiful can really describe this beautiful story.
Yeah, you mentioned Irfan helps a lot of people. That's very true. Even in cricket, he helps the state of Jammu and Kashmir, their cricket team, which does not have many resources, many coaches, many scouts. So he actually helps people from there and pushes them towards like lucrative endeavors like the IPL.
Okay.
So a lot of Kashmiri players in the IPL have been discovered by Irfan Pathan.
Wow.
So he's a fantastic guy, and this story that you just told us just gives a different perspective on his life, and
nobody knows this.
See, more.
These stories we don't talk about, na? Once somebody becomes rich and famous, we only talk about the glamorous side of them, but we don't go back into the real story and find out what that is. He said that my mother makes this. He says, despite our not having money, she made do with whatever she had. So she said, he was saying methi ki sabji, hare tuar ki sabji. She would use all of that to make this tuar, methi, brinjal, and potato ki sabji, because totally protein rich for her kids and very tasty and typical Baroda, Gujarat kind of cooking. He says, when I got married and he says almost the first thing I told my mother was to teach my wife how to make this. And then the wife taught the housekeeper. Now they have a cook. He says, that is the power of my mother's food, that after so many years, I still remember that humble little vegetable she used to make, and I tried to replicate it, at home.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay, so I think in the beginning, even before the book came out, and we were talking about the book, and we discussed about the idea that you were working with, right? And then the book came out. I'm like, wow, wonderful. Now, of course, a little idea was there for me to understand, but I want to understand again that one thing I know that, and especially what you mentioned last, right, was that passing on the recipes.
Yes.
And it is rightly pointed that we don't necessarily, maybe it is a very recent thing that now we are documenting, and there are only a handful of people who are actually documenting recipes.
Yeah.
So especially when your family member goes away, whoever's making the food basically, and when I'm saying goes away, not necessarily from the world, of
Yeah,
course from the world, but also from one state, right? When you start staying alone, you kind of miss that food. But
absolutely.
when you get back in the kitchen, you don't necessarily know how did that happen, and it could be as simple as that making ghee. It could
Absolutely.
be that simple, right?
Yeah.
So, what sort of made you sort of come up with this particular idea that you know what I want to document all these things and come? Because correct me if I'm wrong, you haven't written any food book before this,
Never. I have
right?
written motivational,
Correct.
inspirational, people centric. Actually, a lot of my friends, when they heard that I'm writing a book about food, they laughed me out of the room. They said, "Tu likhegi."
Huh.
He said, one of them said, "Sudha, how do you boil an egg?" So so that's the kind of, they really made fun of me. And
Huh.
it is true because I'm a very reluctant cook. Like I would rather be out doing some bhagdor. I'm that kind of person. Like I can't be in a place for a long time because it makes me very restless. I have to be up and doing things.
Correct
So
me
uh,
again,
uh,
but your daughter is a chef.
my daughter is a chef. She's a pastry chef, which takes even more patience than I think.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So the joke in the family about why my daughter became a chef is my mother told me this once, and I have not
Huh.
forgiven her for it. She said, if your daughter depended upon you for food, then she would not grow up. She would not be there. That's the kind. My mother's conclusion is that it's just that nature's way of making sure everybody survives. So
Correct.
she learned to make her own food so that she doesn't have to depend on amma to make her food. But for me, the idea for this story, how it came about was two things. One, when my father passed away in 2016, my mother went into this deep depression, and it was so bad that we began to fear that we would lose her also. At that point, somebody suggested that a change of scene would be good for her. So I took her to London, where my sister lived at that point. And then over the months that I spent with her, 3 months or so, I would talk to her every day. And one day I realized that talking about food was the only thing that engaged her. Otherwise, she was just in her own world, refusing to engage with anybody. And then one day I just talked to her, and it was not even a planned thing. I just mentioned to her when we were on a walk that, Amma, I really miss this thing you used to make for us when we were in school. And I crave that even now. I think about that even now. Do you remember the recipe? And even then, my mother has dementia now, full blown dementia. She's like 90% of her memory is gone. So even then, when I asked her about this, she just stopped in the tracks, and then she said, "You never told me that you liked it so much. I don't remember you ever. I didn't. This is the first time I'm hearing that you liked it so much." So I said, "Of course I like it. And would you make it for me again?" And then that conversation kind of took off. And then suddenly my mother, who had been silent for almost 4 or 5 months, suddenly she just jumped right back into the world. And then she started talking about her growing up years in Kerala. We have a beautiful ancestral home in a very tiny village, coastal village in Kerala. So she started talking to me about growing up there and eating the food. She had three aunts who were single women by choice, who lived in our matriarchal society. The home, it belongs to the women. So these three women ruled the roost there. They cooked. They had their own things to do, but food was what brought them together. So our house, even now, I remember childhood, summer vacation visits to Kerala. The kitchen would be bustling always. Morning to night, there would be cooking happening. So Amma started talking to me about, the breakfast that they made and the lunches and eating fresh produce from the kitchen garden, and how when suddenly a guest would come, one of the aunts would dispatch her to the drumstick tree right behind the kitchen, and they would pluck some drumstick leaves, and that became a beautiful toran. The drumstick went into the sambar. Then she would pluck a couple of raw mangoes, uh, toast some red chilies in the chulha, and एक onion dal diya, and there's a beautiful spicy raw mango chamandi. And guest went home happy because lovely khana, all made simple, tasty, and all produced from your own land. So she started talking about that, and that one thing led to the other, and suddenly it was all about Amma cooking lunch, uh, one particular thing, one full meal, and I would take down the recipe. And my notebook just filled up, and my mother had rediscovered her joy in life. That same year, my mother-in-law was a completely passionate cook. CKP community, Maharashtrians, their life is about food. They love food, and everything they do is around food. So she had been feeding her family for what, 55, 60 years. She passed away in her 80s. She passed away from dementia. So by the time she was gone, she had no memory at all, like zero. And we realized that none of us, her extended family, including me, like as a son's wife, never thought of taking down any recipe. So a few months after she went, my husband loves this. There is this particular rice khichdi that that the CKPs make, which is like very typical of their community. And he said he will make that today. And then I realized that I don't have the recipe. Neither do I have nothing. I just, every time we felt like eating that particular khichdi, we went to her house and we had the khichdi and brought back goodie bag, doggy bag, and put it in the fridge. I called up her daughter and said, "Do you have the recipe?" And she said, "You know what? I just assumed I would be there all the time." So she also doesn't have the recipe. I decided then, and I realized then that across India, Indian homes, 90% of the time there is no writing down of recipes. And it is so sad because food is, I think, very much a big part of who we are. It's a part of our cultural identity. And we are losing it because we are not writing down. Like if I ask my daughter, who's a chef, how did Amama is my mother, how did she make avial? I'm sure she would know. And of course, there is now Google and YouTube and all of that. But the way each family makes a particular dish is different, and I said that this is crazy and we can't lose a part of our identity like this. And in my small way, I said, let me start by at least capturing the legacy that these two women have left. And just somehow it just became this big project, and I talked to so many different people. And I'm glad that it happened. Like I always say that it's not a showpiece book. It is a book which will, like any of the people in the book, if their children tomorrow pick up that book, or their grandchildren, or the people that come after them, if they pick up the book and read their story, they will know who that woman was, or who that, and what she did, and how she cooked, and what her life was. I think that's important.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And we have a rich history of passing down knowledge orally in India, but
Absolutely.
we don't document it enough. So any effort to do that should always be welcome. So thank you for doing that. I mean, thank you for being part of that effort.
And now for this year, I have decided that I will be trying one recipe a month, not more than that, because I travel a lot, but one meal in a month I can surely cook. So I said 30 meals organized by just reading this book.
That is true. In fact, what you're mentioning, I think it is very emotional as well. I mean, at least for me, it is very emotional for many reasons. But one of the, I remember last year, we have, I'll give two, but first, for example, we have my father, he remembered eating ande ka halwa.
Oh.
And there are bajillion ande ka halwa recipes online available now, which you also mentioned, right? But that family ka flavor is very different, right?
Yes.
Everybody who cooks it differently.
Absolutely.
Somebody will add more sugar, somebody will add less sugar, somebody will cook for more, somebody will cook for less, etc.
कोई secret एक कोई ingredient होता है जो एक ही family में होता है, like
something like that. But I mean, so and I have been trying to make ande ka halwa since a while now, and I like egg halwa. My mother used to cook it all often. Last year I tried it. I'm like, let me cook it. Actually, last year was the second time I made it. So as I said, my father used to love it because my dadi was really wonderful cook. So she used to love making egg halwa, and it is not anda bhuji because you need to cook it and then also on a very slow temperature because eggs cook really quickly.
Fast.
To do it that way that you're just cooking it, not making anda bhuji, like meetha anda bhuji nahi banna. And if you cook it well, I am not kidding. If you really cook it nicely, you get a very grainy texture, which is like a suji halwa.
Okay.
So I kept cooking it. I kept cooking it, and I am somebody who is really who have a lot of patience, and B, I am somebody who really practice in slow, taking it slow. So
Yeah.
be it your life, be it your cooking. I think cooking reflects a lot on your own
Personality.
personality, right?
Absolutely.
If you are a
Absolutely.
jaldi, the only thing jaldi I do is talk. The बोलने के अलावा कुछ जल्दी नहीं करता हूँ. I'm like कोई urgency नहीं है दुनिया में, सब चल रहा है. So I made that, and then and as you mentioned, this was not following my dadi's recipe. This was just following instinct.
Yeah.
And I kept cooking, and then finally I served it to father. And he was like, "No, thoda sa aur paka lo." So I cooked a little extra, and then that was my trophy, I would say. My father very finicky about the food often, but then he said this was like what Dadi used to cook.
Wow.
So
Beautiful.
imagine Dadi. I lost Dadi when I was 1 or 2 years old, right?
Wow.
And I said, and that's why I've never had
Wow.
her food. I've never had her food. The only memory I remember of Dadi was that my back in home, like Sasaram, Bihar, mein, so I was sleeping. This happened early morning. I was sleeping. House help came. His name is Fakhru. So Fakhruddin came over, and then he said, "Sadaf, Baba," and then my brother. He just picked us up, and we went to our paternal house because that was time we lost Dadi. That's the
Oh.
only memory I have. So I don't remember anything eating, right? Photo bhi nahi hai. But that was really, really big trophy thing. Yes, this tastes very much like Dadi, even though I didn't follow it.
And after
And that's
so
what-
many years, he's remembering it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's what I would say a recipe
Wow.
for life, because flavors stay with you. Flavors
Yes,
stay
of
with you.
course.
What, like, I mean, often chefs are called it, stay to your, like, stick to your roots. I think this is what happens, and especially as a kid, when you eat something and when you smell something, it stays with you forever.
Of course. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I think
So
that's
food is always everything that gets cooked in your kitchen has a story behind it, and those stories also stay. Like they become part of who you are. Like,
Yeah. However, even though I am a little biased, I think if you have to hear the stories, you need to hold on to the lady or a female family member.
100%.
Men के पास ऐसे कहानी वाली नहीं होती है.
हाँ.
आपने
kitchen
एकदम
मतलब-
मेरे दिल की बात कही. हाँ.
और रेस्टोरेंट किचन में कहानियां नहीं होती है. रेस्टोरेंट किचन में होता है, जिक्र होता है कुछ चीजों का, लेकिन
हाँ.
कहानियां नहीं होती है.
नहीं.
कहानियां सुनना है, दास्तान सुननी है, तो वो
Yeah.
घर के किचन में किसी ऐसे औरत से पकड़ के पूछो क्या मजेदार कहानी
Absolutely.
होती है.
Absolutely.
And
You know,
that
there
is why
is
we
this.
have you on the show.
Yes, but she doesn't get into the kitchen.
But she has kahaniya.
But I have
Yes,
so
kahani.
many kahaniya. You know, there is this
Yeah.
kahani of, I remember actor Amir Khan's mother. So Amir's sister is a very close friend of mine, Nikhat Khan. She's now slowly building a career in acting. So Nikhat and I are friends, and we were neighbors for the longest time. And I said, because I've eaten in their house so much, I've been always fascinated by the repertoire. That's so much of cooking and so beautifully rendered, you know. And so when this book was like in my head, I once told her I want to hear Ammi's story, Nikhat's mother, their mother, and I've met her over the years, but she's just been this silent, very elegant presence in the house. She doesn't talk much. But when this book idea came, I told Nikhat I want to meet Ammi. So I traveled to Bombay to their house in Bandra, and because I know her so well, she was like more than happy to talk about whatever I wanted to. And then this woman who I've known for so many years, when I said, "What is your most? Tell me about you." I said, "I want to hear your story. Like Nikhat's story, I know we have discussed, how they grew up eating your khana, but I want to know your story." And then Zeenat, her name is Zeenat Hussain. And then she just started talking, and it was such a fascinating story for me because she talked about, she's from Banaras. She was born in Banaras and was raised in Banaras. And she was raised in Banaras from the age of 2. Her mother died when she was 2, and her sister was 3 or 4 or something. So raised in Banaras by her Poofi, paternal aunt. Poofi, how do you say that? So raised by a paternal aunt who was a brilliant cook. Like she says that anything she touched became this delicious thing. She was that kind of passionate cook. And then the stories became about, the food of Banaras and how she would stand in the kitchen and assist the aunt. Because Poofi Jan never believed in, she said that you have to know everything. Like she used to say, cooking is an art. Cooking is not just something you toss together, 5 minutes mein nikal gaye. She says, so till well into her teens, she was just watching her Upi cook. And she says all those shami kebabs and biryanis and chukandar gosht, and she says I learned all of that. And she says that she was such a perfectionist, this aunt, that sometimes when guests arrived, she would say, I can help you. She would say, nahi, up help only in the prep, the cooking you're not ready yet. And she says by the time I married Amir's father and came home, she says I was I had mastered all her recipes. And she says I instantly stole my mother-in-law's heart because she loved the food that I cooked, all the Banarasi style food that I cooked. And she told me she says, you would think that when you're wealthy and when you're like super influential and powerful and celebrities, you would only eat very fancy food and Michelin star cooks and ऐसे कुछ नहीं. So she told me हमारे यहाँ एक चीज बनता है बेसन का हलवा. She says my बेसन का हलवा आमिर मियाँ का सबसे पसंदीदा हलवा है. Says it's his 2 a.m. Go-to dessert. She says that he will eat that over any dessert found anywhere in the world. अम्मी जान ने बनाया हुआ बेसन का हलवा. That is like his most favorite. She says I'm old now and it is difficult because you have to keep roasting it for a long, long time and lot of ghee. And she says now I have taught his maid to make it, and she makes it under my supervision and then stores it in the fridge. And so when he asks for it, it is ready. But besan ka halwa is to be... So now you know what is found in Amir Khan's fridge. So there will be a lot of besan ka halwa. And then the stories of, Eid celebrations and how... Because he was a very influential man, Tahir Hussain. Eid celebrations were very big. And she says that I had such a good time cooking up all of those, Banaras style food. Because the people who came, they came to eat my food. They loved the thing that... all the biryanis and the gosht and all of that. And I found it so fascinating that this young girl traveled from, grew up in Banaras, came to Bombay and became one of the most influential families, married into one of the most influential families. And how she, stole everybody's heart and made her place in that family with just the power of her food, the charm of her food, the pull of her food. I loved her stories. And there is a Banarsi aloo recipe there. The simplest thing. But I made it and I'm telling you, it was just amazing. I know that Banaras food is famed, and I love aloos. So I tried a few of the dishes, which when I'm not lazy, I make. So Banaras wali aloo has to be eaten. It's just amazing.
एक सेकंड का पॉज लेंगे यहाँ पर हम लोग, because there's one more win. लॉटरी लग गई है. अर्चित के मुंह पे ऐसे एक और आलू पड़ा है. Archit doesn't like aloo. Here we go. One more aloo person. Yes.
One more win. Constant battles between Sadaf and I.
If I'm in the worst kind of mood and I'm feeling blue and unhappy or angry, somebody gives me anything made with aloo and I'm like back to my, back to my happy self. I can eat aloo in any form.
Exactly. See? Archit Puri.
आलू
we will talk about comfort food.
नाम में पूरी है, फिर भी आलू नहीं खाता लड़का. So we have done a podcast episode. The last podcast episode was on aloo. So,
wow, I must watch that.
Yeah, you should. And listeners can also go back and listen to that. अभी एक हम ब्रेक लेते हैं, क्योंकि ये ब्रेक पे ना हम सुधा को थोड़ा सा मक्खन और घी मारेंगे, ताकि ऐसे आमिर खान के घर में एंट्री मिल जाए हमें. और तब तक आप लोग ब्रेक लेके आओ.
The world is doing some amazing things with AI when it comes to food and the food industry. AI has been deployed to help with precise analytics, sorting fresh produce, managing supply chains, and so much more. However, it can seem quite daunting if you don't exactly understand how AI works.
Luckily, Intel's Digital Readiness Program is here to empower everyone with skill sets, mindsets, tool sets to use in an AI-fueled world, so you can be ready to develop AI for even sports if you want to.
As part of Intel's AI for Youth program, Intel has been working with CBSE, Ministry of Education, and the Government of India to empower today's youth to build social impact solutions while demystifying what AI is.
How do you take advantage of this? Purchase an Intel Core powered PC and you get free access to 80 plus hours of immersive and hands-on training about AI.
On completion of the program, along with the certificate, you get access to AI toolsets to try put what you learned to good use. So don't wait. Log on to futurebanowwonderful.intel.com.
Future Banao Wonderful by bringing home an Intel powered PC.
And we're back from our break. Sadaf, you mentioned something beautiful before.
About Amir Khan ka phone number.
Nahin.
That was beautiful.
वो मुझे मारेगी.
नहीं, we were talking about how Indian food is often स्वाद अनुसार. सबके घर में अलग रेसिपी से खाना बनता है. इनफैक्ट रेसिपी भी नहीं होती, इंस्टिंक्टिवली काफी जगह बनता है खाना. आपके घर में भिंडी अलग तरीके से बनेगी, मेरे घर में भिंडी अलग तरीके से बनेगी. ऑफन इफ आई आस्क माय मदर कि आपने भिंडी में कितना कांदा और प्याज डाला, उनको एग्जैक्ट मेजरमेंट नहीं पता होंगी. बोलेंगी 3-4 या 4-5. ऑलवेज बी अ रेंज रादर देन द एग्जैक्ट नंबर. Even in the same household, depending on the weather, depending on the conditions, ingredients change. किसी को घर पे थोड़ा cold है, जुकाम है, तो हल्दी ज़्यादा डल जाती है खाने में. So the exact measurements are very hard to find in Indian food. It is instinctive. So given that challenge, I'm curious, how did you manage to document recipes from these 30 personalities in the book with exact measurements?
It was a nightmare. But it's also about it showed me about generosity of women, and the generosity of mothers. So beginning with my own mother, that summer in London when I was trying to take her recipes down, रोज झगड़ा होता था because she'll say सांबार, अच्छा सांबार के लिए she would say 1 pinch of this, 1 handful of dal, then 2 pinches of hing. Then I'd say, Mom, ये ऐसे मैं रेसिपी नहीं. I said, if I try to cook this, even I won't be able to replicate. तो वो कुक बुक में तो होगा ही नहीं. Then she would say, what is this? I didn't learn cooking like this. My mother-in-law taught me like this, and my mother taught me like this. And then we actually had to. Then there were days when we would say, okay, today we are only going to replicate the recipes. अच्छा वो 1 pinch का क्या हुआ? कितना है measurement लिया? It was like tedious, and I wanted to tear my hair and say, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this food book? I don't know. I don't have the patience. Like Sadaf mentioned, that food is about patience, and it's about generosity, and it's about just कि you have to just be there. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Mindfulness. वो तो मेरे में है नहीं. So I want to like फटाफट करो निकलो यार. But every time I spoke to somebody in the book, they would say, अच्छा इसके बाद for the recipes you connect with the mother. And then they would give mother's number, and they would tell the mother कि ये सुधा कॉल करेगी. And फिर तुम जाके मिलो या कुछ भी करो. And then started. So for me, this book was all about building relationships. So then the mothers came into the picture. And then we had long conversations about recipes, ये वो. And then they would send me the recipes. They would always tell somebody, अच्छा ये आपको email कर देंगे. या अच्छा बेटा आप लिख लो. And then that would happen. And then the same thing would start. 1 pinch of this, 1 dash of that, 1 sprinkle of this. And then I would have to explain कि आंटी जी ये ऐसे बुक में नहीं लिख सकती हूँ. आप प्लीज इसको. अच्छा बेटा हाँ अभी समझ गई. Then they would say, अच्छा फिर give 1 week. Then we will try to replicate it in spoon, half spoon, quarter spoon, whatever. But it took time, but it came to me. I would call and they would say, अच्छा बेटा ये तैयार हो गया है, अभी ये email करेंगे. And then they would have to wait for a son or a daughter or somebody, because most of them, like I think more than half of them are into their 80s and not really familiar with email and all. But happy ending to the story is that I got those recipes and I got them, like they took the effort for me, because for them it was, a cherished family recipe would be in a book, or they were doing it for the children. Like somebody's like author Amish talking about his mother's food, and he was so like fascinated with his childhood and his mother's recipes that he connected me to his mother and explained to her that this is for a book and please talk to her. So each of them did that. So the mother is also then talking to me because they're doing something for the children. The children want that. The child wants that this recipe is in the book. So I have now 30 new friends in the mothers of all these people.
I was once making this, and sorry Archit, I'm hijacking your question. I was once in Old Delhi and we were doing a pop-up in Old Delhi. And we had to take a chutney, which is a very specific to Purani Delhi chutney, which is a pyaz tomato ki chutney.
Yeah.
It is raw. It's not a kucha one.
हाँ.
It's not a mashed one. It's just
हाँ.
whole.
हाँ.
And I have never had it before. This is a very old Delhi thing. तो अगर आप ओल्ड दिल्ली में जाते हो तो मतलब स्पेशली ये फैमिलीज में, बाकी में शायद मिलेगी भी नहीं, बाजार में नहीं मिलती है चटनी. तो लाइक ठीक है, इसको रेप्लिकेट करते हैं बिकॉज इट विल गो ग्रेट विथ रोटी. तो एक रोटी बनती है बेसन की रोटी, जिसको बेसनी बोलते हैं. तो बेसनी और ये, तो एक दादी माँ से बात हो रही थी कि अच्छा दादी बताओ फिर, तो फोन पे बात हो रही थी. तो उन्होंने बोला कि हाँ बेटा बहुत ईजी है. बोला अच्छा कितने कैसे बताते बताओ. तो एक बंदा बैठा हुआ लिख रहा है, अच्छा ठीक है 2 प्याज, हाँ 2 प्याज, थोड़ी सी इमली, अच्छा थोड़ी सी इमली लिख लो. उसके बाद लाइक
so many थोड़ी things.
उसके बाद देन शी सेड 15 रुपए का धनिया पत्ता. बोला 1 मिनट, व्हाट इज 15 रुपए का धनिया पत्ता? So that and what you mentioned, right? So you get to know call it generosity or call it the measurement that they had back in days. I mean,
yeah.
And this was उस टाइम का. तो अब मतलब 1 आना 2 आना का भी जितना मिलता होगा, 15 रुपए का मतलब दादी 15 रुपए कितना होता है? तो then of course then what I did to like हाँ ठीक है roughly ये रेसिपी है, तो फिर थोड़ा बहुत ट्वीक करना पड़ा because अभी इमली इतना है. And also because see as a chef when you're cooking something,
Yeah.
right? So you're doing it
Instinctively also.
नहीं शेफ का तो 2 प्याज हो तो कितना ग्राम है? हाँ घर पे आप बोलते हो 2 प्याज. अब 2 प्याज कुड बी बिग प्याज और टाइनी प्याज. वो घर पे इंस्टिंक्टिवली होता है कि हाँ ठीक है मतलब इतना मतलब सब्जी बन रही है तो उसमें ये प्याज चला जाएगा. लेकिन अगर वहां है तो और in a kitchen, in a professional kitchen, onion means range of onions, right? White onion,
red onion, ये वो
सब है. और घर पे अनियन मतलब अनियन बाय डिफॉल्ट. अगर आप नॉर्थ इंडियन हो तो आप रेड अनियन लोगे, आप साउथ के हो तो आप शैलड ले लोगे. बाय डिफॉल्ट चला जाता है वो.
So this book is a lot about that, Sadaf. You know, this book, if you look at the recipes, I think when you make it, you will also have to exercise your own little thoda sa instinct. And I'm not anywhere saying that this is a professionally, it's a cookbook by professional chefs. It is homemade food. It is ghar ka khana. So it has to be made with that spirit and with that generosity. What we have given is the broad structure ki this is the dish, and then you do your little instinctive thing.
So that's I think at the end of the day food is of course sort of art as you mentioned, but also it's just
emotion. Food is also heart. It's also heart.
It's all about heart. It's all about heart. खाना तो heart ही है. दिल से करते भी तो बोलते हैं the secret recipe is always प्यार, love.
Yes.
And sneh, which is Archit told me, sneh also means ghee. So
my mom used to say when my mother grew up in this, I told you now, a house full of women. The house was run by women. So all the generosity which hota hai na, she grew up in that. So everybody who, even till I remember, even when we were growing up, any person who came into the house would be fed. Like 10 baje the person to pick up the garbage would come. She would have 2 idlis and some chutney ready for him every single day, because she would say that we are privileged that we get to eat. He probably left his home at 6 in the morning so that he can pick up everybody's garbage. So he has not eaten, and she would say that he also has to eat because he does hard work. So we have to look after them, and so that generous.
अब इतने जनरस नहीं हम नहीं करते ये सब काम.
नहीं अभी तो we don't even know who comes to pick up the.
कचरा लो निकलो.
So she would tell me if you have an onion, a potato, 1 chili. There was a story she used to say that if you cook even 5 stones, उसमें chili डालो और बहुत सारा प्यार डालो. She said even that will be delicious. She would say because food is about love. She had all these things about food. You know, she's like totally into that zone. So she would say, एक बड़ा पतीली में तुम pot में तुम boil stones and add salt and make it with love. Even that will be the best dish ever. The food story.
Reminds me of this beautiful quote I read in this essay called "Food as Therapy." I'll link it in the show notes by philosopher Alan the Botton. He says that certain foods have got, and I quote, certain foods have got the tenderness we long for, but that our jobs and relationships are currently lacking. The food we call tasty gives vital clues as to what is missing in our psyches and not just in our stomachs. It's the power of food to help us be more rounded versions of ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We don't
And,
look at it like
and
that, no?
yeah, we don't. And
We
so
just
when you
eat.
go on.
No, we just eat. And आजकल तो ऐसे है कि working from home. So sometimes food is eaten at the table, like at the work desk. We just stuff our face, wash our hands and done. We don't even think about what we are eating anymore. It's just so mindless. One more thing
Yeah.
to do. अच्छा lunch खाना है
Yeah.
जल्दी खाओ वापस table पे जाओ.
Yeah.
Before Archit asks the next question, I always, and this is a personal belief, right? We all are working from home. इतनी जद्दोजहद जिंदगी में हम क्यों कर रहे हैं? पैसा
हाँ.
क्यों कमा रहा है इंसान? खाने
हाँ.
के लिए ना. To have
Yeah.
give some respect to food while you're eating food.
Really.
Like when you're working, you're just working,
Yeah.
right? You're just detached, so to speak, from the world. So when
Yeah.
when you're eating, you should be just eating. I mean, I really not hate, but I don't really enjoy people who are also working and eating.
Yeah.
एक आदर बार ठीक
Yeah.
है, लेकिन हर
Yeah.
बार यार
No,
खाने
no,
के
no.
लिए तो जिंदा हो, जद्दोजहद मेहनत दिन रात, तो खाओ चुपचाप से.
Yeah. Really
They're
enjoy
also
it.
doing something else while eating also makes you overeat because you don't hear the signals from your body कि हाँ
Yeah.
बस हो गया,
हाँ.
इतना ही खाओ. Yeah, you're
हाँ.
eating something that your body does not like or does not
Yeah.
suit it. So वो signals बिल्कुल disappear हो जाते हैं अगर तुम mindfully ना खाओ.
There is this thing na, that why the French spend so much time eating, because they eat mindfully. So every morsel is like appreciated, and food is like worship there. Like
Yeah.
यहाँ पे I think most families have it, but I think nuclear families don't have it. Like my mother used to insist that table pe nobody will bring their work. Everybody, that dinner was when we all sat and we would know what was happening in each other's lives. Abhi to kya hai, like nuclear families, everybody is doing their thing, so we don't really like bond over food वैसे.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
my daughter has told me, Mom, you're not to keep saying in my times. She says like you all the time you're saying in my time. You don't have to say. I was about to say in my times we used to sit. Then I said, oh, I can't say that.
Yeah. So, you spoke to 30 people about their comfort food. What is one common element binding comfort food across all these 30 personalities that you spoke with?
In terms of ingredient, or I think it is the emotion. I realized when I spoke to these 30 people that it is
Yeah.
just about emotion. Comfort food equal to ma. No
Ma,
matter
yeah.
what else is, comfort food is ma.
Ma.
Like whoever you are, comfort food.
Yeah.
Like Uday Kotak, in like India's biggest banker, you would think that he
Yeah.
would say some fancy thing.
Yeah.
He said, I actually thought that I'll get to hear some fancy recipes, and we ate in silverware. He said, for me, the most memorable food memory is my maa ke haath ka mitho bhat. They are Kathiawadis. So mitho bhat and adadni dal. And how simpler can it be? Adadni dal means udid dal. Udid dal, it's a very, very, very typical Kathiawadi food. And mitho bhat, which is sweet rice eaten with that. Or then dashmi, rice bhakri with masoor dal. So I have this long conversation with very eminent artist Atul Dodia, and the stories he said, he's now, I think his paintings now sell in crores, like a single painting. He's that kind of person, but grew up in a chawl in Ghatkopar, and mother is from Kathiawad. And he says how this simple woman came from Kathiawad and integrated totally into life in that chawl in Ghatkopar. And he says that she adopted everything that the Maharashtrian community around her offered. So she would do all the Shravan ka fasting, Shravan Somvar fasting, did their kind of food and all of that. And he says, for me, my mother's Karela and Besan is like the most like he says she's gone long now, but I still remember that Besan Karela that she used to make, and I remember the simple moong dal khichdi she would make with a chutney on the side, and churme ka laddu, and for his birthday she would make kheer. And she says my mother did not just feed me all of those things. She says he was the youngest in a large family, and he was saying that she would wait for him to come home on Saturday because he was little, so his school would finish fast. The rest of them had full day school. He had half day. And the mom would be waiting, and she would have his favorite khichdi and all of those little things. And he says that even at that age, she knew I was so much interested in art, you know. So she would talk to me about art. She knew very little, but she would read and find out. And then she would talk about art and entertainment. They both loved films, so they would talk about films and artists and literature. It says birthday ki din she would give me a 20 rupee note and say, now you go and buy your art book. And then he would go to an art store and he would buy books about all the best artists in the world. And he says, today I have the largest collection of art books in India. He says the origin was my mother's. My mother knew instinctively that this was what her son would do. He would become a painter because his interest is in that. And those conversations, he says, started while we would sit cross-legged on the floor in our house in Ghatkopar. So you learn a lot from your mothers if you hang around them.
Yeah. On that note, I will go hang out with my mother for a couple of minutes while all of you take a tiny break.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcasting Network. On Advertising is Dead, Varun speaks to the co-founders of Deserve, Sahil Contractor, and Sandeep Jethwani about their business model, their experiences in the investment space, and how the consumer's point of view on money has evolved. On the Wire Talk, Siddharth is in conversation with Srinivas Kodali, an independent researcher and civic hacker, about Aadhaar. On Marathi Kirkitun, Dr. Rajiv and Manik Deshmukh pay homage to the late Ratnakar Matkari by exploring his literary journey. On GBCD, Farhad and Sunitra share their favorite queer icons. And on Cyrus Says, Anjala Taneja, head of advocacy at Oxfam India, talks to Cyrus about the disparities in vaccine distribution. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show, or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. We appreciate the word of mouth. And finally, we'd like to thank the sponsors on our network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda Quarter, CoinSwitch Kuber, Slay Coffee, Intel, and Kotak Mahindra Bank. Thank you so much for making this possible.
चलो भाई, ज्यादा अम्मा के साथ ना हैंग आउट नहीं करने का, मतलब इसके बाद कर लेना, अभी रुक जाओ, नहीं तो अम्मा के साथ पॉडकास्ट भी सुन सकते हो. खैर, हम आ चुके हैं अपने आखिरी पड़ाव पर, और आखिरी पड़ाव के लिए आपका सवाल है पूरे
1 करोड़ मिलेगा क्या
पॉइंट्स के लिए? क्रेडिट्स आपको ये हम क्रेडिट कार्ड में आपको ऑफर दे देंगे, बिल्कुल जैसे फ्रीडम 2514 आया था वैसे ही. खैर, तो Sudha, as we were mentioning about all the amazing things that we have already mentioned, the last 3 amazing bit. We start with your favorite food. Like absolute, if you have to pick one food and only one food, what that would be?
From my mother's kitchen?
Anybody, I mean, yeah.
Because it's about mother's food, then I'll say my mother's drumstick sambar, or her pearl onion sambar, her tomato pachadi, her aviyar. Yeah. Oh my God. Ye itna sara, when she was well and when she didn't have dementia, when she would come to Pune visiting, I would tell her, ye 3 cheez bana do bas. I would make her make 3 big pots of these things, put in the fridge, and then I would take her out to eat all the Maharashtrian food that Pune has, because she loves Maharashtrian food. But ye 3 cheez wo bana ke jati thi.
So there was drumstick, sambar,
pearl onion, wo chote pyaj, and tomato pachadi. Very simple but very, very tasty.
Yeah. Did you, like, in exchange you got pachadi and gave her thecha?
She loved thecha. She loved thali pit. I'd take her to eat all these Maharashtrian thali places. Na? She would freak out eating all of those things. Yeah, so it was barter system tha. Ghar mein khana bandi thi, lekin we wouldn't eat it because that was being made for me to like put in the fridge. After she went, I would eat it.
Okay. Now, maybe not necessarily from your mother's kitchen. I'm not sure if you say, but underrated. So in general, what is the underrated food you think?
A steaming hot plate of rice with dal, limbu, and ghee. I think most underrated. Most people would say, ye kya cheez hai? Ye kya ghas poos hai? But for me, it is like, just rice, dal, ghee, and lemon. And pickle ho to bahut acha, papad ho to usse bhi acha. But just this much, these 3 things, beautiful.
Yeah.
My mother believed that. Huh?
No, I was saying, Archit, Someone else also mentioned this, right? About chawal dal being really underrated food.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've got dal chawal as underrated. Someone mentioned, I think Kunal Vijayekar mentioned it as overrated.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's absolutely underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you add that ghee in the end.
Ghee
Can't
and
go wrong.
yeah, and try squeeze of lemon on top.
Absolutely.
फिर तो it is like next level good.
I have added podi masala on that. The idli podi
Oh,
masala.
yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
Murga padi.
that's a
हाँ.
great
Luxury.
idea.
Luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the overrated.
Biryani. I think maybe that comes from me being vegetarian because people say ये vegetarian biryani क्या होता है? You know? Let's say ये vegetarian क्या होता है?
अच्छा देखो खुश नहीं होने का है ठीक है so basically we have two people okay you have said biryani is overrated and we also were talking to
I
Nanita
don't think
Iyer.
biryani is overrated.
हाँ something Nanita Iyer also mentioned about biryani being overrated but see here's the thing
Who?
Nandita
Oh, okay. Huh.
so I think she's also vegetarian so both of you are vegetarian
Maybe that's why. Maybe
हो
that's why.
सकता है हाँ
You should
हमारा
try Sada's kathal biryani, which I also
हाँ
mentioned to Nanita.
हाँ कटले बेंस
You know, yeah, everybody says, like a lot of North Indian friends of mine speak about kathal, various preparations. But for me, I think maybe it's the Kerala, the Malayali in me. For me,
Yeah.
jackfruit equal to my mom used to make jackfruit का पायसम. You know, jackfruit ripe, jackfruit का jam बनाया और उसका पायसम. Yeah, jackfruit chips. So for me it is that. So I can't imagine jackfruit का biryani. Like I can't imagine it.
ये लास्ट सेगमेंट से डेजा वू सा क्यों हो रहा है मेरे को आई फील लाइक somebody said this I don't know who said it but somebody also mentioned about the same thing and I remember saying this that most North Indian would know kathal or jackfruit as a sabzi or now in biryani but like I don't think most North Indian I mean at least a lot of them would not necessarily know about the paka hua jackfruit.
No.
They don't necessarily know and then you use the beej of that.
Yeah,
doing
beautiful.
different
We make lovely. We just, the beej, we just put in the chula, roast it, and it is so yum. It's like eating kaju.
अरे वाह
So
केरला भी
yum.
गरीब था बिहार तो गरीब था तो दैट्स व्हाई बिहार यूज्ड टू डू दिस केरला भी गरीब था
Kerala has all this like अच्छा खाना when you're making the jackfruit ka chips बाजू में ये one woman is standing toasting the jackfruit seeds and we're popping it into our mouths along so सब साइड में सब ये सब एक्टिविटी होती थी
नॉर्थ में ना you may or not be getting the पका हुआ कटहल very easily
मे बी
तो बड़ा डिफिकल्ट है अचित पुरी तुमने खाया कभी पका
हाँ जी खाया
कैसे तुम तो नॉर्थ में तुम तो गुड़गांव में तुम कहाँ से मिल गए
तो मैं प्लेन और ट्रेन इन्वेंट हो चुका है
आई नो
ये कब हुआ तुम्हारा जैकफ्रूट प्लेन से आता है वाह यार तुम तो नेहरू जी से कम नहीं निकले
मैं जाता हूँ जैकफ्रूट के पास प्लेन से
वो ही मस्ट बी ट्रैवलिंग टू द
हम लाइक ये एक नेहरू जी थे एक ये अचित जी हैं एक का कपड़ा धुलता था एक का ये जैकफ्रूट मिलता था खैर on that really nice note everybody if you haven't tried jackfruit you should if you have then please let us know the kind of jackfruit preparation that you have had or your mother makes and recipe for life that's the book show note mein link hai to click look kar le
and where can we find you on social media Sudha
so on Twitter and Insta it is Sudha Menon 2006 and on Facebook I have an author page and my own personal page that's as Sudha Menon.
I have a question on that.
Yeah,
usually a lot of millennials when they name their account as add like in the year 2006 2005 10 something like that it's usually their birth year.
No, mine is the time I decided to create my Gmail account. So वही लगे and also it's a function of losing memory na so I want to keep everything uniform so ye acha 2006 रख दिया so that I don't have to keep remembering.
Usually a lot of millennials I know they're like अच्छा इस साल पैदा हुआ है तो यही साल
I'm far older than millennials so
तभी तो पूछ रहा I'm like you already mentioned that earlier. On that note दुकान बंद करते हैं और जाएं फिर अब आप पॉडकास्ट सुन लिया अब जाइए खाना वाना खाइए
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network.
You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com.
You can also follow us on our social media. We are @IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram.
And if you want to reach out to me, on Twitter, I am Hussain Sadaf1, and on Instagram, I am Sadaf_Hussain. You can reach out to Archit
On Twitter, @BanTofu, and on Instagram, @TheHustlingGlutton.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market, and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Duggirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy. If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.